Hi there, welcome back to True Gooner. So this is the first hangout I've done for a while, and I'm here with three regular guests. I'm here with Steve. How you doing, Steve?
Hi, how you doing? All right?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. I'm here with Ruben. How you doing?
Seb, you're right.
Yeah, good, thank you. And here with Kenny. Ken, how you doing?
All good, Seb. All good, Seb.
Excellent. So, as we all know, breaking news has come last night, and our new manager is going to be Unai Emery. Now, me for one, like you saw in my reaction video earlier, I'm happy with this appointment. So we'll just talk to some gooners to hear their thoughts on the manager, potential signings, and the future, and building on for next season. So, Ruben, I'm going to start with you for this. Now, yesterday when I heard your reactions about it, you were not too convinced about this.
Yeah.
What's the reason why?
Well, it's I know he's proven in the Europa League and he's shown that, with Sevilla. But I don't think that was the signing that Arsenal need right now. I would have loved someone like Allegri, Enrique, even Arteta. I was excited about the prospect of having Arteta come in.
Oh wow, you're one of the first people to say that.
I honestly was excited about, although he's not got much managerial experience, and going from an assistant manager at City for 2 years, coming in to be the main man at Arsenal, maybe not the greatest thing. However, my point is that he brings that flair, and he's been with the club, and he knows what the club's about. But I heard the reason that we've gone with Unai Emery is apparently Arteta didn't want to not be able to have control over the signings, which is one thing that Unai Emery has been able to. He's had experience with not having the signings at PSG. Obviously, being there from 2016, they've got like scouts and people that sign the players, so he's kind of already in that sort of setup. So yeah.
All right, well, that's fair enough. How about you, Kenny? Ken, how do you feel about this appointment? Do you think it's a good one?
My headphones in.
Okay. He's just getting his headphones in.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah. So, what do you think about this appointment? Happy?
I'm very happy about the appointment because I think one of my biggest bugbears about Mikel was that he didn't actually have manager experience. Also, I think that he was employed as an interesting candidate because I think of his stuff. A lot of people at Man City speak very highly of
Arteta.
And they talk about his training sessions, one-to-ones, and it's very good doing that. But the challenge is that he's got about 24 players to keep happy. He's got a conundrum in terms of can he play Aubameyang and Lacazette together? That's a conundrum he's going to have to sort out. He's got to let one of them down because it's theory you can't play with two out strikers. He's got a situation about having to, like I said, get rid of the sort of quintet of Ozil, Lacazette, Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan and Ramsey. He's got to break one of them up and he wants to make us more compact. So these are like difficult decisions that Mikel would have had to have made. But ultimately, I think Mikel made a transfer budget and over the transfers, I think that's probably what but from what I'm hearing, he was a very outstanding candidate and he, like I said, a very good CV. And I think what they're looking at Arsenal is to overhaul our whole style of play and basically make us difficult to beat. So I think that for footballing reasons, that's probably why Unai got the job. And you can only look at Seville when he had a small budget to work with. So I think that's one of the things that probably counted against Mikel in the end. And I think that's probably why we went for more experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think I agree with you there. How about you, Steve? You happy with the appointment?
Yeah, I think so because I think it's obvious that we're going down the route of having a coach to look after the team, and then somebody else, will look after transfers and contracts and so on. And they didn't want somebody that was really going to have as much power as Wenger. So I think Emery's just going to concentrate on the first team tactics. I mean, he's very tactically astute. gets the best out of players. He'll study the opponent's players and get our players, knowledgeable about how he wants them to play, where he wants them to play, and I think he'll be good for the club. He's obviously a modern manager. He's a touchline manager, which is what I like. He's very vocal on the side of the pitch, which seems to be where the top managers like to be now, rather than just sitting, messing about with their zip on the bench, sort of, making gestures. And the players are just, I think the players will respond to something like Emery, new ideas, new coach. So I think it's all good.
Yeah, and Ruben, I'll just come back to you. The thing that I notice about Emery is that he's good tactically, like going forward and also locking it down. Do you think that will also be beneficial to the club, that we've got a mixture of both attacking and defensive duties in display?
Yeah, I think I've given him a bit of a hard time. I do need to obviously get behind him because, well, clearly, according to the reports, he's going to be the manager. So there's no point having a moan about it now. We've got to get behind him, and he's not a bad manager. I know, he this season won the quadruple in PSG in France terms, with 3 trophies and then the Ligue 1. He was working with players like Cavani and Neymar, but then also he had the difficulties of managing those big name players with the massive egos in football. So he obviously can deal with someone like Mesut Ozil and players like that. And tactically, he's very strong. Defensive wise, he can lock up and he's really good. If they need to sit back and defend, he's good at doing that. And then also going forward, he's got the flair in attacking. So I think he will be a good manager. And I can only see this being temporary. I can't see it being a 5, 6, 7 year.
Do you not think so? He's going to sign a 3-year contract. So
yeah, I think it will be a 2-3 year deal, and until someone like Luis Enrique, Allegri, one of those becomes available, even Simeone becomes available and leaves their club, and then we'll pounce on on a manager like that.
Yeah, definitely. So Kenny Ken, obviously, Emery's in town. How important was it that Arsenal did get a manager with experience and it was a proven winner? Do you think that was also very important to going forward?
100%, because I think what's happening is that he's got a good track record of working within a small budget, and I think that is his record at Sevilla. Relatively, they're basically a provincial club in Andalusia. But, like I said, but the fact of the matter is they won 3 consecutive titles in the Europa League and actually beat Liverpool 2 years ago. And one of the things that I noticed about the game, Liverpool went 1-0 up, I think, through Danny Sturridge. The one thing about it is that I think Sevilla won sort of, not so much the tactical battle, but the physical battle. One of my biggest bugbears about our players is our lack of fitness. Yeah. Especially away from home. There's no coincidence that teams like Bournemouth, like I said,
even
Swansea, Brighton, yeah, all these teams, and even Spurs away, who are a better team than us anyway, they outworked us physically, and not only physically, but what's happened, they outrun us as well. And I think that's something I'm looking forward to, because I'm hearing that he's going to do some double training sessions. So, like Jack Wilshere, beware or something, because I know you've got a dodgy fitness record. I think that's the sort of thing you want to make. I think I've always said that it's a 4-year deal. And I've always wanted the way we play football to be completely overhauled. But I want it to sort of much be the first team, but I want the youngsters playing the same way as well. And I think he's the sort of man that we need at this time. I agree with Ruben, it's probably going to be about a 4-year deal, but I think in terms of the sort of manager we're going to get in the future, there's never going to be a situation where we're going to have a 20-year manager.
Oh, no.
Whatever, United at 27 years. I think there's a thing in the past, because I think what's happened is that to last that long at a club, you have to have overall control of all aspects of the football club. And I don't think Unai Emery is going to want that. So in that respect, I think he's a good coach. Also, another thing is, well, tactically, he's a good coach. And also, he's going to play, I believe he plays like sort of 1 up front, two behind him, and then he plays like 2.
Yeah, I think he plays 4-2-3-1. That's what.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but what's happening is that he has 2 like out midfielders, and they'll have to have 3 players in front of 1 player. So that's probably a system that may favour Mesut and give Mesut a bit of support. So he'll have 2 anchor midfielders in front of him, and that might get the best out of him. But I do think that Oba and Laka are going to be fighting over 1 place.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually personally think that it's good that we do actually have competition, because, Steve, I'm just going to come to you in this bit. A problem that Arsenal lately has been that things have been very, very comfortable around the place. Like, certain players know they're getting in the team, etc. Do you think he will be able to unstable that, and so things won't become comfortable? You've got to fight for your places, you've got to work hard. Do you think Emery will introduce that, Steve?
Yeah, I think so, because I think, you know, he'll look at the squad, and he's probably already looked at the squad, and he knows what players are going to fit in the way he wants to play, and I think he knows which players he can coach into the type of play he wants to play, and the ones that don't fit that, I think he'll just move them on, and I think he'll already have a list of players that he would consider would fit his style, and obviously with the budget he'll have available, plus the sale of players, he'll know what he can do, and that will all have been discussed. So I think the transfer window is going to be very interesting over the next couple of months, and we'll see some big changes, and it'll be interesting to see how he sets up. You know, do people like Mustafi and Bellerin and Iwobi, and, you know, do they get a place in the side, or does he feel that there's other players that could do the job in the positions he wants to play? You know, and if Bellerin's going to be a defender, he wants him to defend, you know, and if he's bombing up and down the pitch, he will still expect him to be back defending and other players covering. And I think it'll be a bit of a wake up. And as Kenny said, you know, the fitness levels obviously aren't good, and obviously that's certain things they haven't worked in training. They can't practice defending in training, you know, they just can't. The way they defend, it's obvious to me that there's a complete lack of actual defending coaching, if you like, whatever you want to call it, because players are just, they don't know what they're supposed to be, that, you know, reading the game, you know, you can see what's going on, and yet players on the pitch just can't seem to see where the gaps are in the defence.
Yeah, is that partly the reason why only Monreal has gone to the World Cup? Everyone else has not gone.
You look at it and you think, you know, what of our players deserve to be in their national teams? And as you say, Monreal has probably been our most consistent defender throughout the season. And the rest, you know, Mustafi, you know, spent most of his time on his arse, didn't he? You know, defensively, how he won the World Cup, I have no idea. But what do I know? I don't know anything about football.
Well, we'll move on to signings in a minute. First of all, Ruben, I just want to come back to you on this bit. Obviously now it does look like Steve Bold is gone, so there is talk about possible Thierry Henry coming back as a number 2, or maybe Emery might bring his coach along with him. What do you think is going on there? Do you reckon?
Yeah.
To do that?
Yeah. Well, I've looked in earlier today because I was interested when I heard. I think I saw Arsenal Fan TV video Robbie talking about bringing in Thierry Henry possibly. So then I went on to the PSG website and had to look at their assistant managers, and both of them have been with the club. One of them's been with the club since like 2014. One of them's came in with Unai Emery, but he's still at the club. He's not left yet. So maybe he may bring that coach. I can't remember what his name was. He was an ex-Spanish player. He may bring him along with him, or he may completely switch it up and may bring someone completely new in. You know, one thing, I know we keep on resorting back to this, but with Arteta, there was reports of him bringing Xabi Alonso in, and I was quite excited about.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
An Arteta Alonso setup. Obviously, that's not going to happen now, but Emery, you know. If it's Henry, I'd love to see Henry on the side. You know, maybe in a few years' time, maybe if he does well, even he could, you know, replace Henry and be the manager. I would have quite liked to see Vieira, and I was quite upset to see the reports that Vieira felt. What was the words that he said? He felt that it was like
token gesture.
Yeah, a token gesture. That they just kind of asked him about the manager. They inquired about him just just because. And yeah, I was sad to see that because Vieira would have been a great manager, and I think he's taken up a role in France.
Nice.
I think he's reported with there. So, I mean, hopefully he does well there, and kind of climbs up the managerial ladder. Hopefully we'll see him in the Premier League soon. So.
Yeah, definitely. Kenny Ken. So obviously, as you know, there's been a lot of changes to the backroom staff. Of course, we got Sven Mislintat and Raul Sinelli, and a lot more of the other staff have actually been cleared out. So, do you think that this new structure is also what we need, like someone to deal with the transfer, someone to deal with on pitch? What do you make of all these changes, obviously off the pitch?
The thing about it is that it's funny you should say that because last season, just before the cup final, I had a conversation with a few people, and I've wanted the whole thing to be behind the scenes to be a bit strong. I actually was very much in favour because I look at what they were doing at Man City. But the sort of model the example we have is at Chelsea. Like them or not, they've had that sort of model that's been worked. They've got Marina Granovskaya, who deals with contracts, and she's dealing with in terms of like transfers as well. Because before they had Michael Amanolo, the ex-Nigerian international deal with transfers. They had Granovskaya did the contracts, and then like they had people like Werner Baum, Bruce Butt. They had a structure where basically whoever was in charge of Chelsea said, look, anything you need, we can get for you. And I felt what will happen is that it made people accountable, it made managers accountable. And obviously, if you look what Chelsea have won over the years, it's worked. And I thought that close to some, that Arsenal should have done it. So I was very happy that when we got Lushi to deal with contracts. And obviously, we got, when I heard that Mission and that was at the club, I was very excited because the director of football, happy with Solani as well. So that's sort of structure that for every football club should have. You can't have we had a very old-fashioned process.
Yeah, we did.
Arsenal, with Arsene Wenger, being in charge of everything and having total control. Because I mean, that was bound to end in tears, and it actually cost him his job. Because when you're accountable, you are accountable. And if your team, if you go 2 years without Champions League football, you become a financial liability. So you are accountable. It's your fault. You pay for it for your job. One thing Ruben talks about Henry, I do have misgivings, not because I just want to disagree with Ruben for the sake of it. The question you have to ask, right, is that you go to an Arsenal game, right, and you're at a match, and you've got Unai Emery, and you see Thierry Henry, all the fans are going to be doing is singing his name. Now, as well natured as that is, that's distraction for the players and distraction for the manager. Because what will happen is results go wrong. Fans will, oh, he's no good. Let's get the number 2 in. Because you only have to look at the situation with Giggs at Man United. And Howe had him alongside him. But Mourinho immediately made sure there was no place for him. Because simple reason is that Mourinho had to be allowed to manage. Unai Emery has to be allowed to manage. You know what I mean? Actually, his name's Unai Emery. Anyway, that's how you pronounce it anyway. So basically, he has to be allowed to manage, and he has to have total control. I see a power struggle with Thierry's involved in it, especially, and even if Mikel's involved or even Adam's involved, it's all right having these guys at ambassadorial roles, which we do have. In Pat Rice as an ambassador, David O'Leary's ambassador. I'm sure Steve Bold will get an ambassador's job. But in terms of like where we are now, it's a 4-year deal. We're probably going to spend 2 years without Champions League football because we're behind the 8 ball big time, and we're probably going to challenge after the 4th year.
Yeah, I do actually remember you saying once that of course we give this manager time. It'll take 4 seasons before you expect to be challenging.
And that's it. And it has to be done baby steps. But you can't have any distractions, which I think Thierry's going to bring. As well attached as it is, I think Thierry, if he loved Arsenal as much as he does, I think he should allow Emery to manage and to support and back us for the back. Be constructive with your criticisms at Sky. Always back us, but really truly stay out of this. We don't need you at the moment. We need a complete overall how we play.
Yeah, he does actually make a fair point. To be honest with you, Steve, what's your thoughts on that possible Thierry Henry and or some other ex-Gooners coming back to the club? What's your thoughts on that? He does make some fair points, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Kenny's right. I think he'll bring ex-players back, but not necessarily as assistant manager. I think he'll go with somebody from his existing coaching staff that he's worked with before or knows works the way he wants to work. And he'll bring in somebody from that field rather than an Henry or Vieira or, Bergkamp or, bring the players into the backroom staff so they're still at the club having an influence on the players. But not necessarily deflecting from him being the manager making the decisions. And as the guys say, you don't want him being up against it after a few games if it doesn't go quite according to plan, whereby you're trying to promote the number two and then you're back to where you were with somebody that's not got any manager experience being promoted to run the club. And I don't think that's really the way you want to go.
No, absolutely not.
I think he'll bring in somebody else that he's worked with before. To be his number two, and that's probably already been decided. As we say, the guys that are still at PSG doesn't mean to say they'll still be at PSG in a couple of weeks' time. Depends on the influence. He's probably already discussed with the club who he wants, and then it's just down to contracts, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with you there. Okay, right, we'll move on to transfers now. Transfer targets. Obviously, everyone knows that we need to improve the defence. We need a keeper, defensive midfielder, and in my opinion, I also think we need a winger. So, Ruben, we'll start with you. With the transfer targets, who do you reckon Emery's most likely to possibly get, and who would you like to see at Arsenal?
There's a lot of players, names floating around. There's the Steven Nzonzis, the Lenos to come in and goal. I don't think after the decision was made, I think it was last night, to change the kit numbers around and give Czech the number 1 jersey. I doubt we will sign a goalkeeper this summer.
You reckon?
Yeah,
Maybe they might clear out David Ospina.
I think Ospina will stay for another year, and maybe next summer will be the summer that because I think with all the players that we need, Czech, although I will hold my hands up and say he didn't have a great season this year, he cost us a lot of points. But I think if he stays one more year, so then because we have only got 50 million to work with, in this day's market, that's not really a lot of money to work with, and there's positions that really need to be filled before the goalkeeper. The defenders, a holding midfielder, because obviously you were talking about Emery loving to having 2 CDMs, so he's got to have someone holding that he can trust and that he wants holding. The midfield. So I think Steven Nzonzi is a good player to go for because he's obviously managed him for a while at Seville, and there's Rabiot's that are going round maybe because of his links with PSG, and he's been linked with Arsenal for years. Kenny getting excited over there.
I love Rabiot.
With Rabiot. Another brilliant midfielder, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, how about you, Kenny Ken? Which signings do you think you would like to get, and who would you like to see?
Well, first and foremost, I agree with Ruben. I think Petr Cech will be Hussein because I think we're going to need his experience. It's a lot of people say he's on the way. Yeah, it's true. But at the end of the day, I'd like to see Petr Cech with proper protection. At the end of the day, I think what a lot of Arsenal fans look at, they look at the goals that are conceded in the last third, but they don't look at the first phase of play, the second phase of play. No one seems to look at and see, right, why was that ball not intercepted? Why is that a second phase? Why is someone walking that second phase? But dearie me, he's in at goal now. Mustafi's made a mistake. He's made a sauce. Cech has been beaten in their post, but no one looks at the second and third phases of play. And as Ruben says, I'm very excited about the prospect is that obviously because he's managed them at Sevilla, Steven Nzonzi is a player that every Arsenal fan's been looking at. Like I said, everyone said, but he played for Blackburn, he played for Stoke. But the fact of the matter is that we've always looked for that sort of physical player, someone who could outrun the opposition's midfield and give us some sort of discipline in terms of defensively. But I think personally, Mohamed El Neni will thrive under Emery because I fully expect that because I think Emery is the way he's going to play, especially when we don't have the ball. he's going to look at players. So he said, right, who's going to, if I was up against it and I was playing against Man City, or I was playing away from home, who's my most disciplined players? You're going to say, right, El Neni. You look at Nacho Morel. So say Petr Cech. He said, right, I'm going to do him. And then that's what he thinks. And then what he's going to do is he's probably going to buy players that we need. And obviously, like, he's got a great knowledge of the French market because he's been there 2 years. So someone like Rabiot will be someone we're going to get. But Ruben, I must say, we won't be offering Rabiot any Champions League football for probably this season, probably for another 2 years.
That's true, yeah.
So basically, we're going to have to break the back to get this guy, and really break the back. Triple his wages, offer him not a 2 million, a 3 million, just to get him. But he sort of plays like, but we can either go like it's even cheaper and get Seri as well, because there's another player that a lot of Arsenal fans look at. He's just sort of like the physical presence, and he can run as well. So these are the sort of players we're going to need, especially when we got the ball. So I think what we're going to need is like, it's not so much defenders, it's midfielders who are going to encourage defenders as a team. So it's got to be a lobotomy of a lot of players. There's going to be a lot of players going to be very annoyed with this guy. He's going to get them to do things they don't want to do. He's going to have to. He's going to have to say. He's going to have to say to Mesut Ozil, "Sorry, mate. When we're behind the 8 ball, doesn't matter what that we didn't pick you to defend. I want you to be one to pick your man. I don't want the runners cover you. Okay? Because when you play for Germany, you wouldn't dare tell Joachim Low that. So it's one of those things where I think it's not because he hasn't got much money to work with. He's going to look around to players he needs and trusts, and then he's probably going to, probably get the Onzonzi, Series, and and I think what will happen is he'll probably get a younger goalkeeper, but for Petr Cech to groom. But I think there's not going to be too many changes, but there will be some casualties, I'm afraid.
Yeah. How about you, Steve? Who do you reckon will sign? Who do you reckon we get? And do you also think, because we all seem to be talking about defensive players so far, do you also think we could do another winger? Because I certainly do think we can, because I think we've always been a bit weak down the left-hand side. Do you reckon there could be any more attackers possibly coming, or do you think it's a pure defence?
Obviously, Draxler will be coming back to the top of the list again, won't he?
Oh, I'd love to see him.
Every season, Draxler seems to be, the player that we may be getting. But yeah, as the guys have said, really, with the money we have, I think he'll concentrate on defence. I don't think, as the guys have said, I don't think we'll be looking at a goalkeeper this season. I think we'll be concentrating on central defenders and probably another fullback. Because I was, when looking at the games last season, I can't remember that many occasions where we've been totally taken apart to concede a goal. Most of the goals we concede are where we've messed up somewhere else on the pitch, and we haven't got ourselves into the positions we should be getting into. Bear in mind, these are international defenders and play, week in, week out for top sides. So, most of the goals we conceded are basically through our own mistakes. We've created the situation and then we've conceded because of it. And I think he'll get, that's where his focus is going to be. So it's going to be a defensive reinforcements. We don't need to be signing the Mahrez's of this world and these sorts of players, because we've got players that can play like that. And I think he might introduce some of the young players as well, try and get a couple of youngsters in, give Iwobi a year out on loan somewhere and bring somebody else in that can actually, I'd like to see Maitland-Niles develop in central midfield.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he can be that sort of link between defence
and midfield. I like that, Steve.
Sorry. And, he's got that physicality about him. He's got the pace as well, which is what I like. And if he gets himself into trouble, he can get himself out of it, and he can pick a pass. So I like to see Maitland-Niles get a run in the side. But, yeah, I think mainly defensive is where we're looking at, and Draxler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want another, Steve, do you want another Mesut Ozil? Isn't one Mesut Ozil enough in that team?
Yeah, probably. We're always linked with Draxler, and one day we might actually get him.
Yeah. And also, we've just spoken about players coming in. What about possible players going out? Ruben, will he be looking to offload, and who do you think we should offload this summer? Because people will need to go, especially if this is true about this 50 million budget.
Yeah. I think Mustafi's probably one of the first names that comes to everyone's mind about players to get rid of. There's also players, that kind of gone under the radar. Coquelin, is he ever going to really develop into something at Arsenal? Whether he's in, because I know he was in Arsene Wenger's, long-term plan, and he was a Wenger boy. Wenger really liked him. But is he going to be in Unai Emery's plans for the future?
Don't forget, he's gone. Coquelin's gone.
Yeah.
He went in January.
And then with Mustafi as well.
Yeah.
He could go as well. I just completely forgot about Coquelin.
Yeah, he went in January.
He didn't
shows how much. No, we've not messed him at all. And then with Mustafi as well, he's just, the fans have kind of turned against him. We all quite. And then, him going, I don't know. We'll see. I think Mustafi will be the one that goes.
Yeah. Do you reckon anyone else, or do you reckon it'll be probably just him? Don't forget players like Lucas Perez, Joel Campbell.
There's Joel Campbell's one that always goes out on loan, and Wenger quite liked him. He'll probably end up, getting off the paycheck and going on somewhere else. Lucas Perez, again, we've got Alba and we've got Laka now. So whether we're going to need Perez, he could probably get off the the wages, free up some funds. So I don't know. There'll be a few players that probably Unai Emery's probably thinking right now who he wants and who he wants to get rid of, and he'll be brainstorming right now. And as soon as he comes in, there'll be players that get chucked straight on the transfer list. So
yeah, definitely. How about you, Kenny? Ken, what do you think? Who needs to go?
Well, I think what's happening is that if you look at some of the players, I think that with the way you play, can we fit Jack in that side? That's the good. Can we fit Jack in the side? I'm hearing that he wants to build a side around Ramsey and Aubameyang. So obviously, yeah, I think Jack might be a definite casualty. And also, I think that in terms of casualties as well, I agree on Mustafi. I can't see Chambers getting much change either. But I think with Koscielny being injured, he's probably going to buy another defender anyway. So holding. I don't know, he likes to work with young players. He might give me a chance. So the players that I fear for really is probably Jack Wilshere and Mustafi. I think he is going to try and work with Mesut Ozil, but I don't know. I'm not sure he's going to have much patience with him.
Yeah. What about you? Who do you reckon might have to go?
Right, Seb, you're echoing a bit.
Oh, sorry, is that?
Yeah, you need to sort that out, mate.
Anyway, Steve, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Mustafi is probably top of the list for going. And I think he hasn't got long, has he? Because obviously the transfer window finishes before the season starts. So he's not going to have many games to see how players are going to play in his system before he needs to. So he's going to have to make some quick decisions about who's staying and who's going. So difficult to say. Holding's just signed a new contract, so he may go out on loan. Chambers, backup defender. We haven't really got anybody else at right back, have we? Really, that can play instead of Bellerin. Obviously Maitland-Niles has played all the way across the back four, but that's not his ideal positions. And I think he'll want to get players in to play. He'll buy a fullback to play fullback. He won't buy a fullback to play at right wing back or right side midfield. He'll want a fullback to be a fullback, I think. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But I think there might be a couple of surprises. Jack might struggle to get in the side, especially if they're going to up the training on the fitness level, and it's whether or not his body can stand up to that, isn't it? And to a little degree, not so much this season, but Ramsey's had problems with fitness in the past. But maybe that's the problem. He's not been fit enough to play. And maybe with a new regime, his fitness will improve and, stop the injuries that keep cropping up. So it'd be interesting to see. I think it's going to be a very interesting transfer window, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, before we wrap this up, we'll talk about the future and what our expectations are for next season. Ruben, we'll start with how do you think the future is looking for Arsenal, and we'll tell our plans for next season.
To be honest with you, I don't really expect much in the next season. The 2018-2019 season is not going to be great for. I mean, it may go well. I'm expecting probably a sixth. I'd be happy with a fifth place. I don't think we may go somewhere in the Europa League, maybe get to the final, possibly win it. Emery's got the experience in that competition. I don't think we won't get very far in the FA Cup. I don't think we'll do much in the league. I think it'll be just a bit of it's going to be his first season, isn't it? He's take baby steps, as Ken said, into the. It's not going to be able to go straight in, and people are going to be expecting him to come, first, second, third, get in that top four.
Oh, no, yeah,
so people, it's gonna take time. But I mean, honestly, if we came fifth, I'd be really happy. It's an improvement. It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. How about you, Ken? Obviously, you did say earlier that you need to be given time, and you don't think we'll get a Champions League season.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything. I have no expectations of us challenging for the top four. And certainly not challenging the league. But I'll be very happy with fifth place and make a good cup run. Maybe a final in the FA Cup, maybe a semi-final in the Europa League. But I want to see definite progress and a style of play that I can identify with. And then maybe in 2019, 20 season we could kick on again. But yeah, I think Emery's going to need some time. But what he's going to need to do is make us different.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's what we want to see is progression. What about you, Steve? How do you think we can move on to next season?
I think an improvement in performances. I want to see the team starting games with passion. I want to see the team starting the game with pace. And, we'll lose games, obviously, against the top side. But I just want to compete with these top sides now. We're not going to... Man United spent 200 odd million last season. They're going to spend another 200 million remodelling the sides. How many trophies did Man United win last season? And you think, well, we just want to compete with these sides and be in touch and be competitive, reach semi-finals, give us a chance at finals, and improve the overall mentality of the players. Way forms got to be better. We've got to take points.
Oh well, it can't be any worse than last season.
It can't be any worse, but that's where we lost our fourth place is on our away performance. If we performed half decent away as we do at home, we would have been challenging for fourth place. End of.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, right. We'll wrap the show up there. So thank you very much, boys, for joining me. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Ken.
Thank you.
Nice to speak to you, Steve.
Nice
Yeah, I'll speak to you again.
Yeah.
And up the Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal.
As always.
Yeah, we'll definitely get you back on sometime during the summer to do another transfer update and talk about pre-season before we head into the new season. We'll definitely do that. And yeah, thanks to you for watching, and come on, you Reds.